Nigeria, the most populous nation in Africa, with nearly 200 million people, a variety of spoken languages, including the third largest English-speaking population on Earth.
Where did Nigerians come from? What is their origin, and can their history be traced in the Bible? These are questions that many Nigerians, especially Christians, may have asked at some point. The Bible, as one of the oldest books in the world, gives insight into the history of mankind and the different nations that spread across the earth. Nigeria, like many other African countries, has diverse ethnic groups and cultures. However, some Bible scholars and historians believe that certain Nigerian tribes may have links to biblical ancestry. We will explore the possible origins of Nigerians according to the Bible, examining key scriptures and historical perspectives. To understand the origin of Nigerians according to the Bible, we must start with the story of Noah and his three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. According to Genesis 10, after the Great Flood, Noah's sons became the ancestors of different nations. Shem became the father of the Semitic people, which includes the Israelites, Arabs, and some Asian groups. His lineage played a significant role in the biblical narrative, as it later led to the emergence of Abraham, the patriarch of the Israelite nation. Japheth became the ancestor of many European and Asian tribes. His descendants spread into regions that are now associated with Greece, Rome, and other Indo-European civilizations. Many scholars attribute the development of Western and Eastern civilizations to Japheth's lineage. Ham became the father of the African and Canaanite nations. His descendants are believed to have migrated into various parts of Africa and the Middle East, establishing powerful ancient civilizations such as Egypt, Nubia, and the Canaanite regions. Since Nigeria is in Africa, we focus on Ham and his descendants, particularly Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan, Genesis 10-6. Many historians and Bible scholars suggest that some African nations, including Nigeria, may have descended from these groups. Cush. According to biblical records, Cush was one of the sons of Ham and is often associated with the region of ancient Ethiopia. Some scholars extend the influence of Cush's descendants beyond Ethiopia, suggesting connections to other parts of Africa, including regions near the Niger River, which may link to Nigerian ancestry. Mizraim. This name is often linked to ancient Egypt. The descendants of Mizraim played a crucial role in early African civilization, developing one of the most advanced cultures of the ancient world. While Egypt itself is located in North Africa, some theories propose that migrations from this region contributed to the development of West African societies, including Nigeria. Put, often identified with ancient Libya or surrounding regions in North Africa, Put's descendants may have migrated southward over time, contributing to the ethnic and cultural diversity of sub-Saharan Africa. Some Nigerian ethnic groups may trace indirect lineage to these migrations. Canaan. The Canaanites primarily inhabited the Middle Eastern regions, but some historical records suggest that portions of their population migrated to Africa. While Canaan's direct connection to Nigeria is less clear, the broader African migration patterns suggest intermingling of various Hamitic tribes over generations. Many biblical scholars and historians believe that African civilizations, including those in Nigeria, have deep-rooted ties to these early descendants of Ham. The oral traditions of various Nigerian ethnic groups often mention migration patterns that align with these biblical genealogies. Additionally, linguistic and cultural similarities between ancient African civilizations and certain biblical accounts further support the idea that the people of Nigeria may have connections to Noah's lineage through Ham's descendants. While the exact details of how these groups migrated and formed the various tribes in Nigeria remain open to interpretation, the biblical narrative provides a fascinating foundation for understanding the origins of Nigerian ancestry. The story of Noah's sons and the spread of nations highlights how humanity dispersed across the earth, shaping the diverse peoples and cultures we see today. Thus, Nigeria, like many other nations, can trace its heritage back to the Great Flood's aftermath, where Noah's descendants set the stage for the development of civilizations across the world. Who was Cush, the father of black nations? Cush was one of the sons of Ham, and his descendants settled in parts of Africa and Arabia. The name Cush is often associated with Ethiopia, but in biblical times, Cush referred to a broader region covering parts of modern-day Sudan, Ethiopia, and other parts of Africa. Some scholars suggest that Nigerians, particularly the Yoruba and Igbo people, might have connections to the Kushites. In Isaiah 18 verse 1-2, the Bible describes a land beyond the rivers of Cush, possibly referring to areas further west in Africa. Some interpretations suggest this could include Nigeria. This idea supports the theory that Kushite influence may have extended beyond East Africa, reaching deeper into the African continent. The Kushites were known to be dark-skinned people, Jeremiah 13:23, and they were great warriors and builders. This aligns with many African traditions, where ancient civilizations thrived with strong leadership and cultural development. Historical records suggest that Kushites played a significant role in the development of great African kingdoms, such as Nubia and Aksum, known for their architectural marvels and military prowess. Kushite influence is evident in African folklore, traditions, and even linguistic similarities found in various African languages. Some scholars argue that Kushite migrations contributed to the formation of powerful West African civilizations, including the ancient Nok culture in Nigeria, which exhibited advanced knowledge of metallurgy and urban planning. This further strengthens the connection between Kush and the broader African heritage. Additionally, ancient Egyptian records reference Kushites as a formidable and influential people, often engaging in trade, diplomacy, and military campaigns. The Kingdom of Kush, located in present-day Sudan, was a dominant force in the region for centuries, even ruling over Egypt during the 25th dynasty. This period of African history demonstrates the rich legacy of Kushite descendants and their lasting impact on the continent. Put, another ancestor of African tribes. The Bible mentions Phut as one of Ham's sons. Genesis 10:6. Put's descendants are believed to have settled in parts of North and West Africa. Ancient historians like Josephus identified Put with Libya, but Libya in ancient times referred to a broader African region. Some Nigerian tribes, especially in the northern and western regions, could have ancestry linked to Put. Ezekiel 30 verse 5 mentions Put as one of the nations, often alongside Cush and other African nations. This suggests that Put's descendants spread widely, possibly reaching regions like present-day Nigeria. Put's influence is evident in historical African civilizations that thrived in the Sahara, the Sahel, and along the West African coast. The presence of advanced societies in West Africa, such as the Mali Empire, Ghana Empire, and the Kingdom of Ife, could have roots tracing back to Put's lineage. These civilizations were known for their achievements in governance, trade, and the arts, demonstrating a strong cultural foundation that may have been influenced by ancient biblical lineages. Furthermore, some African oral traditions speak of migrations from the east and north, reinforcing the possibility that Put's descendants integrated into various African ethnic groups over time. With the evidence from historical, biblical, and anthropological sources, it is clear that both Cush and Put played vital roles in shaping the identity of many African nations today, leaving a lasting legacy that still resonates in modern African societies. The Igbo and Hebrew connection. One of the most debated topics regarding the biblical origin of Nigerians is the claim that the Igbo people have Jewish or Israelite ancestry. Some Igbo traditions and customs bear similarities to Jewish practices, such as circumcision on the 8th day, dietary laws, and religious observances. The theory suggests that some of the lost tribes of Israel might have migrated to West Africa, including Nigeria. Some scholars believe that the Igbo people could be descendants of Gad, Zebulun, or other Israelite tribes who fled from persecution in ancient Israel. While there is no direct biblical proof, oral traditions and cultural similarities have kept this belief alive. The Igbo people, also known as Ndi Igbo, have strong oral traditions that tell of their origins. Some Igbo elders claim that their ancestors traveled from the Middle East through the Sudan before settling in their present location in Nigeria. Many cultural and religious practices within the Igbo community mirror Jewish customs, including the observance of certain dietary restrictions and the emphasis on strong family ties and community structure. Additionally, Igbo names often carry meanings that resonate with biblical themes, reinforcing the idea of a possible connection to ancient Israel. Some Igbo families have even taken DNA tests to trace their lineage, with some results indicating possible Middle Eastern ancestry. This has led to an increased interest among some Igbo people in practicing Judaism, with some adopting Jewish customs and even seeking recognition from Jewish communities worldwide. The Yoruba and their possible Middle Eastern links. The Yoruba people also have traditions that suggest they may have migrated from the Middle East. Some accounts trace their origin to Lamurudu, a figure believed to have come from the east, possibly Egypt or Mesopotamia. The Yoruba language has some similarities with ancient Hebrew and Arabic. Some historians speculate that the Yoruba could have connections to the ancient Canaanites or other Near Eastern tribes. While the Bible does not mention the Yoruba specifically, their historical migration patterns suggest a link to ancient civilizations from the biblical world. The Yoruba people have a complex and rich mythology that intertwines with their history. According to Yoruba oral history, their ancestors migrated from the east, traveling through regions that are now known as Sudan and Egypt before arriving in present-day Nigeria. The story of Oduduwa, a key figure in Yoruba history, adds another layer to the theory of a Middle Eastern connection. Some scholars believe Oduduwa may have been a prince from a Middle Eastern kingdom who traveled to West Africa and became the progenitor of the Yoruba people. Additionally, some Yoruba spiritual practices share similarities with ancient Middle Eastern religions. Certain Yoruba deities, or orishas, have characteristics that resemble gods from Mesopotamian and Canaanite traditions. The concept of destiny, reincarnation, and divine guidance present in Yoruba spirituality also mirrors beliefs found in ancient Middle Eastern cultures. This suggests that the Yoruba people may have inherited aspects of these traditions through migration and cultural exchange. The Hausa-Fulani and their Islamic influence. The Hausa-Fulani people, predominantly in northern Nigeria, have strong historical ties to Arabia and North Africa. While their biblical connection is less emphasized, some believe that they might be linked to the Ishmaelites, descendants of Ishmael, Abraham's son through Hagar, Genesis 16 verse 10-12. The spread of Islam in northern Nigeria further strengthens the link between the Hausa-Fulani and Middle Eastern cultures. While their biblical ancestry is not as direct as the Igbo or Yoruba, their history connects them to Abrahamic traditions. The Hausa-Fulani people have a long history of trade and interaction with the Arab world, dating back to the early centuries of the Islamic expansion. The trans-Saharan trade routes facilitated the exchange of goods, ideas, and religious beliefs, bringing Islamic traditions into the region. The Fulani people, in particular, played a significant role in spreading Islam throughout West Africa, establishing Islamic schools, mosques, and centers of learning that connected them to the larger Islamic world. The presence of Arabic words and Islamic concepts in Hausa culture further strengthens the theory of a historical link to the Middle East. Many Hausa-Fulani customs, including marriage practices, governance, and religious observances, reflect Islamic traditions that originated from Arabia. Additionally, some Hausa legends trace their ancestry to Middle Eastern figures, reinforcing the idea of a shared heritage with biblical peoples. What does this mean for Nigerians today? Understanding the biblical origins of Nigerians does not change their identity, but it helps create a deeper appreciation of history and culture. Whether Nigerians are descendants of Cush, Put, the Israelites, or other biblical tribes, their rich heritage and resilience remain undeniable. Many Nigerian customs, names, and traditions reflect biblical principles, showing that spirituality has always been part of their identity. This knowledge can foster a sense of unity and pride among Nigerians, encouraging them to explore their ancestry and cultural roots. By recognizing the deep connections between Nigerian traditions and biblical history, individuals can gain a greater understanding of their past and how it shapes their present identity. This also allows for stronger cultural exchanges and appreciation of diverse traditions within Nigeria. Furthermore, the global recognition of Nigerian heritage can contribute to historical research and discussions on migration patterns, trade routes, and cultural interactions between Africa and the Middle East. As scholars continue to investigate these connections, new discoveries may provide further insights into the biblical and historical origins of Nigerian ethnic groups. The Bible provides a fascinating perspective on the origins of nations, including Nigeria. While there is no single answer to where Nigerians come from in the Bible, various clues point to connections with ancient African and Middle Eastern peoples. From the Kushites and Putites to possible ties with Israelites and Canaanites, the Nigerian heritage is deeply rooted in biblical history. Whether through oral traditions, migration patterns, or cultural similarities, Nigerians have a strong link to the ancient world described in the Bible. This understanding can strengthen the sense of identity among Nigerians and encourage them to embrace their rich and diverse history. Nigeria remains a nation with deep spiritual roots, and its people continue to play a significant role in the world today. As research into Nigerian ancestry continues, there is an opportunity for individuals to explore their heritage through DNA analysis, historical studies, and cultural documentation. By embracing the wealth of knowledge available, Nigerians can build a stronger connection to their past and preserve their traditions for future generations. Ultimately, whether through biblical, historical, or cultural perspectives, the story of Nigeria's origins is one of resilience, migration, and deep spiritual significance. Recognizing these connections allows for a richer appreciation of Nigerian identity and its place in the broader history of humanity. Thank you for watching the video. We hope you enjoyed it. I would like to ask you to please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and activate the notification bell to receive updates about new videos.
I have good news for you. You will win. It's been written.
I am what I am by the grace of God. As long as that grace does not fail, Satan will never win.
This revival you see will not be aborted.